Jake, you wanted to discuss the pipe dream, as you called it, that is college football. So I'm going to let you run with this one because I got to hear this.
All right. So what is going on here is I'm going to be flat out honest. I would love to have college football back, but there are so many different scenarios that are happening right now. You got schools out there like Ohio State and Notre Dame all talking about, hey, yeah, guys, we're gonna bring the kids back till about December, then they can go home for winter break. Okay, but you're forgetting something. You're forgetting about the student section. You should be thinking about the football players. You guys, the understanding right now with college football is they don't have a plan right now. They haven't been able to come up with a game plan to really show that, look, these players, are you going to come back for the scholarship money, or are they going to give them the option to just say, no, we're going to stay home here? Because we have no idea what is going to happen here. We have Gene Smith, athletic director for Ohio State, saying we could potentially get 20,000 people to come here. No way. That is way too risky, especially with this COVID-19 that continues to take up people's lives at this point. And we are still only at 25%. We're only in phase 1 right now. We're not even at phase 2. So for me to even think that there is college football coming back, the question is, if it's not going to be this year, could it be possibly the Power 5 conferences decide, you know what, we'll just do it ourselves? But that's what I want to see. In order for college football to come back, I need a plan. I need an understanding from the SEC, from the Big Ten, from the Pac-12. Larry Scott, commissioner of the Pac-12, came out and said the potential chance of us having a season is not very good. He said that on the Dan Patrick show. And even though Dan Patrick came back at him a little bit, Larry continued to say, we are not sure if we are going to have a football season, because if they don't start getting guys into camp by June, it could be a really big possibility we will not see it in 2020. It's just a thought. There are so many different factors right now. The first thing they have to do, they got to understand, are these players going to come back? I mean, is it going to be scholarship money? Are you going to pay them? I mean, we got to understand this, because here's another thing. Even though the players say, yeah, I want to come back, what about the parents? You don't think the parents are going to come out and say, wait, I don't want my kid playing for free? You guys got to give me some incentive. And then also testing. Okay, if you're going to test the players every 2 to 3 days, let's say, what are you saying to the students that are coming back just for school, that are the non-athletes? So there's a lot of different factors right now happening here. I'm glad to hear that there are conferences out there saying, oh, yeah, we're going to be back, we're going to play football and all that. Well, guess what? Words don't matter in this situation. Action does. And right now, I haven't seen any action that makes me feel like college sports is going to come back in the fall.
All right, Ruth, let me go to you, because you seem to really have your feet to the ground when it comes to especially UCF and the college atmosphere. What are you hearing in regards to students returning and the possibility of there being just a semester of college?
Being a college student, they are letting us know, do not have any plans for the fall semester being on campus. Like they're putting the seed in our minds that we're also going to be doing online classes for the following semester. If that's how they have to do it, then I'm not gonna, I will abide by the rules and take my classes online. You get it done simpler. I waste less gas going to campus. But when it comes to college football players, do they feel the same about that? Probably not, because if they see the NBA making a comeback, if they see MLB, making plans for the future, I feel like they're going to want college sports to follow suit.
I got you. All right, Mike, so you're out there with the Pac-12 in Arizona, and, we were talking about this again before coming on. What has been the consensus out there?
Well, all 3 Division I universities, ASU, NAU, and U of A, all their presidents came out and said yes, in accordance with health and CDC, local and federal. But they all said they're having in-person classes in the fall. They're aiming for that. Now, again, safety is the most important thing. Jake's right. But Jake, also the governors of most of these Southeastern Conference states have said, oh, they want their football, and it's a political thing, and I get that. What I will say is the Gene Smith, yeah, I disagree. I was laughing at that when he said we could get 20,000. they're going to be playing it just like UFC, just like MLB when they come back. Basketball, they aren't going to beat people in the stands. The only thing that's going to be there, because it's about this, kids, it's all about the green. It's going to be TV. They will be televised. That's what I'm saying. The Pac-12 coaches meet every week. I know I'm saying the athletic directors do, but I mean, the athletic directors are in the know, but the Pac-12 coaches meet every week. So yes, they are talking contingency plans. ASU, like I said, before we got on, had that game with UNLV. It just got announced they're going to be playing it at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas because UNLV, I guess, is going through remodel. But it'll be interesting. Like I said, I want to be there. It'll be interesting press-wise what they let in. And I think it is going to be the testing because just like the NFL, Ray Anderson, the ASU AD, was on, he's been on a few radio shows talking about how that they're going to have the health, the same ones that the NFL's having, they're going to have them on the field. So again, I get it. If somebody tests, you could test negative one day and positive the next. But if you're going to bring it back and it is safe, they do have a plan. And again, it was all over Twitter yesterday, but it was announced today how they're playing that game at Allegiant Stadium. I think they do have a plan. And the only thing, and again, ended up agreeing with you guys when we talked about the Olympics and saying they had to postpone it. Again, it made sense. I said they could have waited till May, but I think it's just irresponsible. Not that you're not taking health and safety to heart, and it's utmost importance, but it's irresponsible to say we're not going to have something 8 months out when things are starting to open back up. Again, we have to see, Eric, you told me about obviously the people on the beaches in Florida not being responsible. It's going to be a thing, but there's not going to be people in the stadium except for TV crews. And everybody's going to have to get tested and wear masks. And, hey, fine. But I'm just saying that is a plan, and it's being talked about. So, again, I could see there not being it. But if all these other sports go back and there's not fans there, don't tell me that you're not going to bring college sports back. And
Alex, let me ask you a question because I want to go a different angle with this one. Predominantly, most of the athletes who play on the college level and also on the professional level are of a minority descent. Fair enough to say?
It's a fair assessment when you're talking about football and basketball.
Okay, so let's take college football since that's what we're kind of on right now. Let me ask you, because I think you and I might be different on this, but I don't think we are. If I'm a college athlete going into let's just say my junior year, and I'm on Mel Kiper or Todd McShay's big board to get drafted after this season. Because of this pandemic, does it make sense for me to sit out and just prepare myself for the combine? Or if there is a season, do I play, risk being exposed, and not be highly touted like I currently am?
I want to start this with saying fear is your only guide. Your first question, should I sit out and not play even though I'm on Mel Kiper's big board? Yes. Yes. Daniel Bryan, yes. Guys, we don't have a handle on this. We can debate and pontificate all we want. The United States government, let's not even get into politics. The United States government does not have a handle on this. Your local governor doesn't have a handle on this. I get news feeds because, as you know, I have connections here and there. Bro, Italy's planning on opening back up June 3rd. You know who they're not opening back up to? America. Italy won't take us. France won't take us. Germany won't take us because we can't get our stuff straight here in the States. You just heard Mike say, hey, Arizona, we're going to play. We're going to do what we need to do. We need that almighty dollar. When you just heard Jake say there's a slim chance that anybody from the Big Ten is going to play. Hell to the no do I risk my career for some people who don't want to pay me as a college athlete and then want to use me on a sub-term contract when I do get to the NFL. The best thing you can do, go across seas, get your degree, have a backup plan. Because as far as this year is concerned, I'm with Jake. You're not going to pay me, so you can't pay me. to play for you.
Okay.
That's yeah, and just to finish up that point,
Sure.
that's why everybody continues to say that pro sports will have a better chance of opening up because all of these players are going to get paid. NBA players right now are getting paid because they came with an agreement with the NBA that they were going to start getting paid May 15th, where we know the negotiations with baseball. We know that hockey has been quiet as well. They're trying to figure out a plan. Then the NFL, we also understand what they're trying to do. But college sports is completely different because all these kids get is some scholarship money and a T-shirt. Now, look, I am one of those people back in the past that said that I don't believe that players should be paid here. But in a situation, in a pandemic like this, they need to have some kind of incentive to come back. Because what if one of these guys tear an ACL and then they get tested positive? It's one of those things. But also the main factor is the travel. Are you trying to tell you're going to get all of these guys on a bus or on a plane together and risk a potential chance of COVID-19 happening again? Fear, I know, is a word that people don't want to be bringing up, but when it comes to sports in college, fear has to be the main point.
Okay. Ruthie, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that these college students are not only wanting scholarships, but they need that platform for them to get to that professional level, for them to, for their talents to be, you know, on display for these teams that are going to be picking them up in the draft. So yeah, I say play when they have everything straightened out and they have these testing, when they have a plan, I want them to play.
And I have to agree with Alex. I don't see a plan, at least for the college level. I don't see one this season. And honestly, Mike, you know, if Arizona
even a late season.
I'm not saying it was a plan, Eric. I'm just saying they want in-student classes, and it goes to Alex's fear thing. And believe me, I'm not saying athletes. And look, this is a conversation we can all have for another time, because I had a lot of good friends play Division I sports and go to schools that they could never afford.
Right.
So when you live in California, you live next door to USC. You know how much you pay? You pay full price. It's a private university.
Right.
So my theory again, it's about safety. I'm with Jake. I'm with you on that. I'm not saying put anybody in jeopardy. I'm just saying there aren't going to be fans there. And to Alex's point, Italy opening up, I know because believe me, it was news all over Europe yesterday. It made it here. Cristiano Ronaldo was on the practice field by himself with Juventus and Serie A. They opened it up. That's huge news.
That is, especially for that area, that's huge. But like he said, 3 countries over in Europe
but nobody's
basically
letting anybody
staying.
in too. That's what I was going to say to Alex. Right. Nobody's letting anybody in. Within Italy, I mean, again, they're talking about playing soccer. Yeah, but UEFA suspended all international competitions. There's no Euro Cup this summer, obviously. Fine, we understand.
Oh,
there's no Euro Cup, but they suspended anything going to other countries. So they're also in Italy not letting anybody from China in. So I mean, it's one of those things where I understand. I'm with you guys. I just think you can present a strong front, and it might fall on, it might be held up by paper, stilts, or straws, whatever you want to say. But at least to have a plan. I mean, Larry Scott said it. I respect what they're saying. I'm just with Alex. I get, and I have a cousin that's a doctor. He's in New York. I don't get to talk to him every day, but we talk once a week. I get it. It is totally serious. But when you look at their plans and what other sports are doing, like Jake said, I mean, there's nobody in these stadiums. I mean, the baseball owners put out a thing, and I wanted to vomit because I literally wanted to vomit out how they're going to lose, like, collectively they're going to lose, like, what was it, like $4 billion or something, or 46 for whatever it was. It was a ridiculous number, but because there aren't going to be fans in the stadium. That's that's what the owners wanted to put out there. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and Jake, I want to go to Jake on that because he was the one who made mention of that about, Major League Baseball and what their intent is. And you basically said it, and I'll say it for you. MLB right now, the owners, they're making basically a mockery of this. I think it is ridiculous. And if I was at the table, let's just say, I would be the first one to say, you know what? We have got to, MLB season, we've got to shut this down, or we have to go with a shortened schedule but it has to be within these guidelines. And Jake, I'll let you take it from there. But I, like you, Mike, I'm sick to my stomach. I'm nauseated thinking about this. Look, I want sports back just as much as the four of you and anybody else who is a true sports person. I want to get back into doing the Magic Perspective with Alex and Eric. I want to be with Ruthie with the Bucks and watching, Brady and Evans. I want to sit with Jake and talk about this stuff. I want to have my weekly conversations with Mike about Dallas and Philly and which one is better. But we don't have a true, definitive, consistent plan put in place for us to get back there. And we're just kind of going with plan C, F, L, M, Z, double A. Go ahead. It's just crazy.
No, it is crazy because, I mean, this is something that, Dan Patrick brought up a couple months ago. If you don't have a plan, don't bring one up. I mean, the NBA is actually, out of everybody now, I've actually been more impressed with the NBA and NHL because they are not putting out the plan quite yet. I mean, Adam Silver came out and said, look, we don't have a plan yet until at least between the dates of June 1st and June 15th. Now, Major League Baseball, I mean, the owners looked horrible, but then the players like Blake Snell and all that made it look even worse. And now you're coming back with this. Baseball right now is losing $75 million a day right now. And so now they're having that issue. And even if baseball does come back, here's the problem. You're not going to have vendors. You're not going to have ticket takers. All you're going to have is the broadcasting team and the players out there in masks. So what are you saying to those people that are basically unemployed right now because of this? This is their money. This is their budget for the year, is working all these home baseball games, working these 81 games. So there has just been a lot of situational. I don't understand what baseball is doing anymore. I mean, either you decide to play or don't, because it's coming down to the players. Because now we don't know what is going to happen. We don't know how it's going to feel. And that is just a big problem. And baseball just make it worse and worse.
Right.
Just shut up, go to the table, talk to the players, figure this thing out. Otherwise, cancel the season. Because honestly, out of all the professional sports, baseball could be the one we don't see.
Yeah, but Jake, did you see the 67-page report that they listed for like all health things? They're talking about empty stadiums. And literally, I know one of the things I thought was hilarious is like, because we're saying soccer, talking about Ronaldo, if you look at the EPL, a lot of times the players aren't on a bench on the field. They actually go into the stands where it's like quartered off. But they're talking about not being in dugouts, no spitting. I mean, all this is in the 67-page report. No spitting, no throwing the ball around the infield like before the inning, which I thought was hilarious. But they were talking about sitting in the stands, having players 6 feet apart. You're going to be, however you're batting, however you're like playing it. But I mean, the 67-page report was all just like health issues. Again, I'm not saying that it was the best ideas, but they're at least going to each other. But like Clayton Kershaw said, when we talked about Blake Snell, like Kershaw said, like, we can't have, if we agree to this and it's safe, that was Kershaw's thing, it's safe, we can't be holding out because of money, because fans are going to crucify him.
You're absolutely
right.
They
They can't go to the game and they can't watch it on TV, like Eric's saying too. I just think that you're right. I mean, Major League Baseball is trying, but for the owners to put out, oh, well, teams losing, it's like, why? I'm sorry, you're going to put that in a headline when over like 200,000 lives worldwide have died from this virus. But yes, we're really sorry that you guys are losing that. Thank you for making sure this article gets out everywhere.
So, Alex, let me ask you, and then I'm going to go a round table, and then we're going to wrap this up. In your honest opinion, Alex, and this question is for everybody, what sports, if any, are we going to have between now and the end of the year?
First and foremost, I believe the NBA has a plan. Look for us to get back to work sometime in mid-June. Trust me, I'm looking forward to that. Because unlike the MLB, the NBA actually talks and listens to their players. You and I already know football's happening. By hell or high water, football is happening. I'm not missing baseball. I can give a damn about baseball. So It's fine. That's just more time for me to write. But the NFL is already planning on losing $5.5 billion due to the lack of concession and tickets in the stands. They already have a plan.
Right.
They're making N95 mesh inside the helmets, which is probably going to cause some players to pass out, but they're not going to get any coronavirus. They're going to be tested twice a week. The NFL, unlike the MLB, has a plan. And I want to give a shout out to John Turner of the football world, because he gave me the insight that the Washington Capitals and the NHL are going to forego the 2020 season, but will be ready to go for the 2021 season. So the only person looking like a joke right now is those greedy ass owners of the MLB.
All right, Jake, I'm going to go to you. Same question. What are we having this year?
I believe after, at first when we started doing Sports Arena, doing this kind of stuff, and we were going through the pandemic, I thought basketball was failing, but honestly, they've done the best job. I mean, for them to come out with that idea of saying June 1st to June 15th, I thought that was a stroke of genius, because now they have given themselves a good timeline to get this game plan going, understand what they have to do, work with the players. Are you going to Orlando? Are you going to Vegas? Are you going to stick over there with the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference? So there's so much detail in there that they have to still work out. But I'm glad that they put out a timeline at least that made sense. With baseball, no way. I could see basketball coming back and seeing football come back in October. That's how I feel. I would love to see hockey, but if what Alex said is true about the Washington Capitals possibly prepping for 2021 instead of 2020, maybe that's the right option. Maybe that's what they need to do. But right now, basketball and football are the only two sports that actually have an idea. And also kudos to NASCAR and Brian France. They've done an amazing job able to come up with they have been dominating television so far. I mean, last night they had a race at Darlington, and even though the last 20 laps were canceled, people were still watching. And even somebody flipped off Denny Hamlin, and Denny Hamlin went on the Dan Patrick show this morning and said, anybody who flicks me off is going to be sorry going forward. That's just the kind of stuff that we need right now. So with NASCAR, we got golf coming back next Sunday, with the Skins game, and then we got basketball and football. But I don't know if hockey's coming back, and I certainly, after what I've seen with baseball, I don't see them coming back either.
All right, Ruth, let me go to you.
Well, I was definitely going to bring up golf, because that is the sport that you could do the most social distancing for. So they have, by all means, they should come back as soon as possible. And I'm pretty sure that's already in the works. But yeah, the NBA seems like they're getting their ducks in the row, and they're coming up with a game plan. And if they come to Orlando, I will be fanatic, because I live in Orlando and I actually work at Disney. So I would definitely be applying for credentials. Shout out to anybody who has the hookup on that. But have my fingers crossed for that. As far as football, maybe the season might be pushed back a little further than we've hoped. Maybe nothing is going to be at the timeline that they might be coming up with right now, but I do see it happening before the end of the year, and we will be crowning a Super Bowl champion in 2021.
All right, Mike, I'm gonna finish it with you, because you are of the mindset, based on what you've heard and just being out there with the Pac-12 and ASU, that we will have some form of college football.
I leave it to the.
Go ahead.
I leave it to the caveat if it's safe. With Alex, I mean, some of the hockey people I reached out to, some of them had that sentiment, but I think there's quite a few owners that if the NBA comes back, Alex, and like their plan, because Gary Bettman, I mean, yes, he's an NBA to follow, a former worked for David Stern. But anyway, if the NBA comes back, I think hockey comes back. If teams actually choose to pressure it, we'll see. But I think the NBA, I'm with you, has a plan. But Alex, I will disagree with you a teeny bit, because the Major League Baseball players don't have to listen to the owners, because they are the strongest union in all four of the U.S. major sports. Like, they always get what they want, and that's how it goes. But I think, again, NFL, I'm with you guys. It happens. The whole thing with the schedule, when the schedule thing came out, how everybody whoever you play the second week of the season has the same bye week. So if they're looking at a plan from that, well, all that would say to me is that maybe you don't start week 1, you get pushed back. So you play, obviously the team you would have played week 1 and week 2, but then you won't, their bye weeks would match up. So you could play the team that you were supposed to play in week 2. I didn't get all the math on that, but I think we have NFL. We're going to have golf. They're not going to have fans. NASCAR, like Jake said, has been awesome. The Bundesliga. See, this is why I say that you can have baseball, and the EPL's aiming to come back in June. You look at Germany playing last weekend in soccer already, and there are no fans there. But I'll tell you what, those stadiums are just as big as a lot of football stadiums here, and I've been to a few of them. So if you can do that, we see football. I still think we see baseball because of the greedy ass what the owners, put out with no fans. Golf is going to be there. Like Ruthie said too, social distancing. They said no family, no fans, just the players and their caddies. They're getting tested. So I think we see it. Again, in college sports is going to come down to, like you guys said, but if phase 1 goes and then we're into phase 2, do they just bring athletes back on campus and that's it because of the dollars that they bring in, whatever, to go to school? But I think we see them all. And until that, again, I wanted safety and that first, but I think we see them all, especially with hockey though too, Jake, because if basketball comes back, a lot of them, if they do play some play in the same arenas. So everybody's getting tested. So again, it will screw somebody if, like the Kings, the Kings, Clippers, and Lakers are all at the Staples Center. That's a lot of traffic of just athletes and staff. So you got to think about that too. Would they go play in San Diego? Would they do something else? But What about you, Eric? Or what are we going to see?
Listen, I am still of the mindset that first and foremost, NFL is going to happen.
Yeah.
And I just do that from a personal perspective. Let me tell you that right now. If I don't have football this season, y'all are going to be seeing a lot more of me saying a lot more colorful language each and every day.
There will be riots.
Yeah.
There will be riots.
Yeah.
And they will all be led by Eric.
Yes.
Look, do I need to come
Mike, you might have to drive or fly over here to contain me because
I'll drive out.
Alex, Ruthie, and Jake are not going to be enough to keep me contained. So I do believe that we will have an NFL. I need there to be. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What'd you say, Ruthie?
It might save you some hurt for your Eagles.
Yeah, I'll take it. I don't care. I need an NBA, and here's my reason why. We live in Orlando. The Magic right now, a number 8 seed, still have an opportunity to get in the playoffs. In the playoffs. Hey, let's do it. We're not Golden State. We're not Cleveland. We're not Minnesota. We're not none of those teams. I ain't worried about them.
We made the cut.
We made the cut, so doggone it, we're going to get ours.
The COVID cut.
We're going to get ours.
Perspective, all 4.
But when it comes to baseball, huh?
No, I was gonna say to Alex real quick that the NHL. Some of my guys told me, and I saw a thing. It hasn't gotten much legs, which I don't know who threw it out, but they're talking about a 2014 playoff.
Really? There's only 30, 32
exactly.
teams?
So 6
There's only 30 teams.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I didn't understand either. But they were talking about 24. I didn't get details, but they mentioned that.
When it comes to the NHL, listen, I'm down to see a good fight just as much as the next person. But because of this pandemic, I'm saying shut it down. Because the only reason I watch hockey is I want to see the fight.
No. It's not as much fighting anymore.
Right. Now, Major League Baseball, I am 20 minutes door to door from Tropicana Field.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I can take it, I can leave it. It really doesn't matter to me which way. Would I like to see it? Yes, because it is some type of sport. But after everything that we've talked about, man, I'm just saying, if you're not going to play a shortened season, keep everything under wraps, follow suit like the NBA and the NFL, and just go and shut it down.
Right.
Really, just go and shut it down. Hey, thank you, everybody, for joining me. I really appreciate it. Ruth the Truth, Sports Talk Florida. Check her out Monday nights at 8 p.m. What's it? Set the Sales podcast?
Set the Sales podcast, Monday night.
Make sure you check her out. Michael Carotenuto, NBC Sports Radio, 1060 The Sports Hangover in Arizona. Brother, please be safe. And if you ever need a place to crash for a little while, I got you. Just make your way over here. Jake Rongholt, Turning Point Podcast. Also, turning both sides of the story. Check him out. And, of course, my brother, Alex Fleming, for the Sun Review, Buck Report contributor, and Fantasy and Flavors.